Christian Horner recently made some intriguing comments regarding Ferrari's lineup for the 2025 season. He subtly suggested that Red Bull's position in the championship battle is strong, largely due to the influence of Max Verstappen. Despite 2024 showing that a single driver can't dominate the entire season alone, unless they perform nearly perfect, Horner remains firm in his belief that Verstappen's leadership will be crucial for Red Bull's constructor title defense. But is Horner possibly overestimating their advantage, and could Ferrari challenge this belief with their own lineup? Looking ahead, one of the most captivating teams to follow in 2025 is Red Bull, for two primary reasons. The first is the decline in their car's performance seen in 2024, which shook their previously unshakable competitive edge. The second is the promotion of Liam Lawson to the main team. Despite him having just 11 races under his belt, his rise suggests that Red Bull might be positioning him as a future star, in case Verstappen looks elsewhere. But here's the catch: Red Bull's 2025 philosophy is clear. Verstappen is the leader, and Lawson's job is not to beat him. More on that shortly. Horner's comments have sparked some debate, especially regarding the dynamic between Red Bull's drivers and how this affects their competition. He mentioned that having Verstappen and Lawson together provides Red Bull with a strategic advantage over teams like Ferrari. Ferrari, according to Horner, will face internal challenges with their two drivers potentially stealing points from each other, which could make the team's strategy less effective. He pointed out that when two teammates are constantly battling, it can create tension and divide the team's focus. The most famous example of this was the intense rivalry between Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg at Mercedes from 2014 to 2016. During that period, Mercedes had no serious competition, but now, with the grid more competitive, internal conflicts could be more costly. Ferrari will need to manage their duo effectively if they're to avoid splitting their points, especially in a season that promises to be more unpredictable. Red Bull, on the other hand, has made it clear that their strategy revolves around Verstappen. Lawson, while talented, isn't expected to challenge Verstappen for the lead, at least not yet. Instead, his role will be to complement Verstappen and ensure Red Bull's constructor points remain high. Max Verstappen is undeniably the centerpiece of Red Bull's current success, and Horner doesn't hesitate to emphasize this. In a recent statement, he called Verstappen the most valuable asset in Formula One, describing him as the team's lead driver. Horner added that if Lawson can come close to Verstappen's pace, it would be an achievement, but he made it clear that the primary expectation for Lawson is to support the team's success without trying to outpace his more experienced teammate. In essence, Red Bull's strategy is built around Verstappen's dominance, and Lawson's role is to accumulate points without stirring up internal competition. Horner also drew a contrast with Ferrari, where their two drivers, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, will likely fight for supremacy, which could split their focus. He pointed out how difficult it is to manage two strong competitors within a single team, something Mercedes experienced when Rosberg and Hamilton's rivalry almost tore the team apart. At the time, Mercedes had no serious threats from other teams, but now with the grid so tightly packed, every point lost to internal conflict could prove costly. Meanwhile, Red Bull is putting all its weight behind Verstappen, believing that a unified front is the key to defending their constructor's title. Horner's remarks about Red Bull's lineup have clearly put Ferrari's strategy under the microscope. He believes that Red Bull's approach, having Verstappen as the clear leader while Lawson plays a supportive role, gives them a competitive edge over teams like Ferrari, where their drivers may end up taking points away from each other. But Ferrari's team principal, Fred Vasseur, didn't shy away from responding. He pointed out that he'd prefer having two drivers fighting for podium finishes rather than struggling for positions at the back of the grid. The key takeaway here is that Ferrari's focus is on having both drivers push each other to improve, something that has benefited them in the past. Vasseur also acknowledged that the competition between Leclerc and Sainz, while challenging, could also lead to better results. In the past couple of seasons, Ferrari has let their drivers race freely, creating a positive pressure environment. This approach helped them recover during tougher times and has even motivated both drivers to extract more from their cars. Ferrari's strategy might be seen as risky, but it's one that has proven to work when the team's performance aligns with their ambitions. The pressure is already mounting on Liam Lawson, even before his first official race with Red Bull. According to Horner, Lawson's performance will be closely scrutinized, as the team has set clear expectations for him. They've outlined specific benchmarks, such as staying within 0.3 of a second from Verstappen in both qualifying and races. This is no small task, especially considering the level Verstappen operates at. Red Bull's special advisor, Helmut Marko, has been vocal about Lawson's role, stating that Lawson must focus on consistency and support the team in accumulating constructor points. While Marko has acknowledged Lawson's talent, the rookie driver's focus should remain on aiding the team rather than trying to outpace Verstappen. This is a clear signal that Red Bull is protecting their star driver status, and any competition between the two would likely be seen as counterproductive. Marko has also given Lawson some straightforward advice on what to avoid. He told the rookie not to get involved in the technical side of the car's development, such as making changes to setups or suggesting strategies. In past seasons, we've seen teammates try to make these moves, and it usually ends in failure. Marko emphasized that Lawson should focus on learning from Verstappen and keep his eye on the bigger picture, supporting Red Bull's goals and ensuring that both drivers work towards team success. This strategy makes sense from Red Bull's perspective, as their primary goal for 2025 is to defend their Constructors' Championship and maintain their dominant position in the sport. As for Lawson, his challenge will be proving he can perform without overstepping Verstappen's boundaries and disrupt the team's established hierarchy. One of the most critical issues looming over Red Bull's 2025 campaign is the future of Max Verstappen. Although no rumors have surfaced suggesting that Verstappen might leave Red Bull after 2025, recent statements from both Max and his father, Jos, have raised some eyebrows. They've been vocal about the team's need to remain competitive, especially with the upcoming regulation changes. According to Jos Verstappen, Red Bull must build a car that is easier to drive and more reliable, as the second half of the 2024 season was a clear indicator that the current car has its limitations. The concern here is that if Red Bull can't keep up with the competition or fail to provide Verstappen with a championship-contending car, he might be looking for other opportunities. Red Bull's challenge will be balancing their current success with the need for ongoing innovation to keep Verstappen motivated. Helmut Marko has also hinted that Verstappen's contract may contain exit clauses tied to performance. If Red Bull fails to deliver a competitive car, Verstappen could decide to explore options with other teams. This isn't a far-fetched scenario, especially with other teams like Aston Martin making significant strides in the development of their cars. Aston Martin, with the support of their new engine partner, Honda, could be in a position to fight for the championship in the coming years, especially with the likes of Fernando Alonso at the helm. Verstappen has, however, downplayed these rumors, confirming that he's focused on the current set of regulations and isn't thinking about his future just yet. He emphasized that 2026, when new car and engine regulations come into play, will be a turning point in the sport, and that he'll evaluate his options when the time comes. Despite Verstappen's commitment to Red Bull for now, the future remains uncertain. As the 2026 regulations approach, many teams will enter a new era of competition, and the landscape could change dramatically. Verstappen admitted that if Red Bull fails to produce a car that can win races under the new rules, he won't hesitate to consider other options. This could be a massive blow to Red Bull, as they've built their entire team around Verstappen's leadership. However, he remains optimistic that the team can overcome the challenges of 2024 and build a better car for 2025. His confidence is tied to his trust in Red Bull's engineering team, who are already working on fixes for the car's balance issues and other performance concerns. Verstappen's message is clear: if the team doesn't show progress, he won't stick around for long. For Red Bull, the pressure is mounting as they prepare for the 2025 season. With a more competitive grid and the regulatory changes ahead, they cannot afford to rest on their laurels. Verstappen's warning is a clear indication that the team must prioritize car development and address any weaknesses in their design. If Red Bull fails to provide a competitive car for Verstappen, there's a real risk they could fall behind, especially with teams like Aston Martin and Ferrari showing promise. The 2025 season will be a crucial year for the team, as they'll need to prove that their dominance in 2023 wasn't just a fluke. The clock is ticking, and every development decision will be critical for their continued success in Formula One. With all these factors in play, the big question for Red Bull is whether their current lineup can hold up against a rapidly improving Ferrari and the growing strength of other competitors. Verstappen has set the bar incredibly high, but can Red Bull's car continue to support his incredible talent? And more importantly, if they fail to deliver a competitive car, will Verstappen decide to walk away from the team? It's a situation that has all the potential to shake up the sport in the coming years. As for Lawson, he'll have his own set of challenges in proving himself as Red Bull's future star. and his ability to stay within Verstappen's shadow without stepping out of line will be crucial. It's clear that Red Bull's 2025 season will be one of the most interesting and potentially pivotal seasons in their history. As we look ahead to the 2025 season, the future of Red Bull and Max Verstappen is filled with uncertainty, but also exciting possibilities. Will Red Bull maintain their top spot, or will new competitors like Ferrari and Aston Martin rise to the challenge? Will Verstappen's patience run out if the car isn't competitive enough, or will Red Bull continue to innovate and keep their star driver happy? And can Lawson rise to the occasion and prove himself as a reliable teammate for Verstappen? With so much at stake, the 2025 season promises to be one of the most unpredictable and fascinating years in recent memory. But one thing is for sure: the outcome could significantly reshape the future of Formula One as we know it. So, with all these shifting dynamics, one thing is clear: the 2025 Formula One season will be filled with intense competition, pivotal decisions, and major stakes for teams like Red Bull and Ferrari. Will Verstappen remain the undisputed leader at Red Bull, or could we see a shift in the power balance? And what about Lawson? Can he rise to the occasion and prove he's the future of the team? We're set for a thrilling season ahead. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you think Red Bull will remain on top, or is a new challenger about to take over? And don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. If you're interested in more Formula One updates, make sure to subscribe and check out the next video on screen now. See you in the next one.